Authorities say at least 15 police officers and 4 civilians are dead after gunmen launched simultaneous attacks in 2 cities in Russia's Dagestan region. They took place as the country was celebrating the Orthodox festival of Pentecost. Local officials say a synagogue, 2 Orthodox churches, and a police traffic post were targeted.
Intense gunfights broke out in seemingly coordinated attacks. Here in the Dagestan capital of Makhachkala, armed militants roamed the streets. Footage from eyewitnesses shows the gunmen shooting police officers. Several were killed.
The relevant services and law enforcement agencies worked quickly, but unfortunately there were losses. We offer our sincere condolences to the families and friends whose sons and brothers died.
The militants also targeted a church, later setting it on fire. Meanwhile, the city of Derbent, which is around 120 kilometres away, was also under attack. A synagogue was set alight, and a priest was killed at an Orthodox church. While no one has claimed responsibility for the attacks, the Republic of Dagestan has been targeted by Islamic militants in the past. Russia's investigative committee has launched an investigation into what it called acts of terror.
I'd like to welcome Olivier Roy, a French political scientist and professor at the European University Institute. His work focuses on political Islam, and he is an expert on Central Asia. I'd like to begin by first looking at the facts we know surrounding these attacks in Dagestan. In your view, do they follow the pattern of designated terrorist groups like the Islamic State?
Yes, absolutely. They are targeting, religious, non-Muslim, of course, religious establishments, synagogue and churches, and they are putting a big blow to the local government, but also, by definition, to Putin.
Now, the post-Soviet era in Dagestan was characterized by uprisings and violence, and in 2017, Russia officially declared this rebellion defeated. Is this now indicative that there is a danger that Russia will lose control again?
We have still 3 hotbeds of radicalism in Russia. One is Dagestan, by definition. The other is Chechnya. And the third is Tajikistan. And now most of the terrorists who did operate recently, not only in Russia, but also in Europe, are from one of the... What we see in Dagestan is a very bad omen for Putin, because it shows that the Islamic State is very well rooted. 2 of the attackers were the sons of a local district officer, a well-known guy. So it means that the state apparatus itself seems to have been penetrated by these radicals.
What kind of reaction might we expect from the Russian state in response to this latest attack?
As usual, to accuse NATO and Ukraine, and to negate the fact that there is a great resentment among Russian Muslims, because all these guys in Dagestan and Chechnya, they have the Russian citizenship. So clearly it shows the failure of the policy of Putin to ally with Muslim conservative like Kadyrov in Chechnya. This didn't prevent the radicalization of other young Muslims, and especially the youth, and the fact that this radicalization is targeting directly the Russian power.
Indeed, the Kremlin has been fairly quick to accuse so-called foreign forces of having supported these attacks, especially Ukraine, as you say. So just to be clear, is there any reason to believe this claim from the Kremlin?
No, absolutely not. First, Ukraine is generally not targeting civilians in Russia or elsewhere. Secondly, Ukraine is strongly supporting Israel, especially about the Gaza affair. So in this sense, the attack of the synagogue is some sort of a reprisals, about against the Jews and the Israelis, because So it totally contradicts the policy of Ukraine to have the best relations possible with Israel.
Now, and indeed, last October, Dagestan made headlines when anti-Semitic riots broke out at the airport in the city of Makhachkala, and the attacks yesterday were directed in part against synagogues, among other places. Do you see a connection there?
Yeah, there is a general hostility, to what they call Zionism, which means, of course, also the local Jews. But they also attack Orthodox churches. So it means that they are trying to drive non-Muslims out of Dagestan. So there is a clearly here dimension of jihad against non-Muslims. And of course, the Jewish religious communities and the Russian religious communities were supporting Putin. So it's also a way to show that Putin's power is rather feeble, rather weak in this area.
Olivier Roy from the European University Institute, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us on DW today.
Thank you.